I must confess that I feel I should be offended at all the patronizing remarks that are being showered on us Tamils of this country. That others define who we are. Others tell us, well, you are a teenager. Others tell us, you are not a nationality, you are a national minority. Right? There are others tell us because we are small in number, that we must live according to their terms. What part of what I said in my address did you not understand? When the Constitution was made in 1972, we were excluded. We were not allowed to participate. 78 Constitution did not have our participation. Now, as a remedy, what did I suggest? Did I say that our view must be imposed on the majority? It is the opposite that I said. I said we don't want anything that the majority of this country will not accept. Now, why are you so scared about it now? Why are you not willing to place before the majority of this country the option of deciding? Why are you worried if we make a suggestion of a federal arrangement? That's a suggestion. Anybody has a right to make a suggestion. Why are you shutting out the views of a significant people of this country? Why are you refusing to discuss it and not allow us to even convince the majority that is the way to go? The majority does not accept. Surely it will not pass. Surely it will not pass. The whole process of constitution making at present is one in which, as I said, we have not placed any proposals, nor has the government. It's a consultative effort. And even though we are 10%, 12%, whatever, we are risking it and saying we will place it before the people. And only if the people accept it, we will take it. Now, what is the worry? If the people don't accept it, reject it. Reject it. If the majority of this country continues to labor under a minority complex, that is what they will do. That is what they will do. I like to say something. I usually don't say this because it sounds like a threat. And I'm not saying it as a threat. I'm saying it as a reality. Some years ago, there was a bishop from Rwanda who came here, Alexis Bilinda Gababo. And he addressed a group of Sinhalese leaders. And he said something like this. He said, if you don't treat your brother, the Tamil, as an equal, his brother who has gone out of the country will ensure that you don't live in peace. If you work out how you can live in peace with your brother here, that is the best. Now I am saying at the present juncture, those of us who legitimately represent the Tamil people of this country, are saying it must be a constitution that must be acceptable to all the people of this country. And the decision as to whether it is acceptable to all the people of this country will eventually be made by the majority people of this country. And why shy away from that process? Why is that even that our willingness to participate in such a process and leave the decision in the hands of the preponderant majority, why is even that sought to be denied to us?
May I respond to that, Suma? Now, speaking for myself, I mean, at one level, I should be delighted if there is an effort at a new constitution, which would naturally entail an election, a referendum. And in this situation in the world where the liberal world order is being challenged and overturned in country after country, most so at referenda, then I think if one were a betting man, one could bet that the proposition will be defeated at a referendum, especially because I don't see the UNP and SLFP voters coming out to vote for a non-unitary constitution. I mean, in 82, the UNPers voted to extend the life of their government. I don't see that happening here. So if the government loses at a referendum, then it would probably be the beginning of the end of the government. I mean, even in Britain and Italy, the prime ministers had to leave. This is the third world. This is volatile. If the prime minister doesn't, there will probably be a no confidence motion before the end of the year. So I should be happy because, as everyone knows, I'm not a fan of this government. But why am I opposed to a referendum? For the reasons I set out here. But one other reason, and I wasn't going to say this either, as Suma said, he wasn't going to say certain things which he said, but now I'm provoked to say something. The other reason that I didn't state why I'm opposed to a referendum is because I'm not a fool. I know that even though the majority of people will vote overwhelmingly against the new constitution, elements of the TNA, including Chief Minister Vigneswaran, will probably go into the referendum calling for a mandate for Tamil sovereignty and internal self-determination, because that's what they did in 1977. The Vadukade resolution of 76 was turned into the single slogan at the 1977 general elections. The TULF campaigned on the single slogan of an independent, sovereign, separate, socialist state of Tamil Eelam, called for a vote, and they did win most of the northern province and some of the eastern province, and for decades they kept talking about that 1977 mandate. Now, I'm not a bloody fool, if you'll pardon my language. We can defeat the constitution, but the separatist elements in the TNA, and I don't include Brother Sumanthiran here, will call for a vote in the north and east, and they will regain their 1977 mandate for a separate state. And I don't want to see that polarization. Not that they will get the separate state, but it will renew the separatist mentality, and it will be used as a political victory for separatism. Therefore, I do not want this to go for a referendum, even though the referendum can be defeated, the no vote will win, and the government will probably be recomposed by the president or will be thrown out by the people. Any referendum in this situation will be the electoral equivalent of the Hartal of 53, a few years after which the government of the day, the UNP, was defeated. But still, it's the price that we'll have to pay is too high. The other point about Rwanda. Now, Suma, as individuals, every citizen should treat the other citizen as an equal brother or sister. Why only brother? But anyway, brother or sister. But you can't politically expect that a minority will be the equivalent of a majority. Now, that majority doesn't have to be an ethnic majority, but it's like a company. I mean, if there are majority shareholders, and there are those who don't have that many shares. It doesn't mean that the majority shareholders are higher than the minority shareholders. It's like a round table, but there's a minority shareholding and a majority shareholding. Now, the point is that the Tamil nationalists have never been willing to accept that. Well, fine. I mean, if you want to play majority, you can't be a democracy. Democracy is one man, one vote, or one person, one vote. That's the basis of it. It's not the be-all and end-all of democracy, but it's the fundamental constitutive principle of democracy. Don't confuse, and let's not confuse liberalism with democracy. Democracy is about representation. Liberalism is about individual freedom. There was liberalism before democracy, and there's democracy without liberalism. The attempt here is to equate the two. The fundamentals of democracy cannot be violated. A minority and a majority cannot be treated as equal collectives. in terms of political power. That won't happen. But individual citizens must be treated equally. And that is why I have called for a Bill of Rights and strong anti-discrimination legislation. Now, if you don't want to play that game, then of course the world is a big place. I mean, there are places in which you do have federal units like Tamil Nadu. You have Tamil chief ministers like Malaysia, but not here. It's not going to work here. And we face the worst that the brethren abroad could throw at us. Suicide bombing tigers for 30 years. 70,000 troops from Big Brother next door. And we are still here.
Shall we give
So I don't think we are going to succumb to that kind of threat.
Let me assure you, since Vigneswaran is being projected all the time,